Welcome to the Around the Block podcast presented by PrepVolleyball.com. We're your hosts, Jimmy Pompeo and Sam Heyman, here to give you the inside scoop on all things prep. Welcome back to Around the Block with Jimmy Pompeo and Sam Hyman. We have a very special guest today, Coach Doug Chinchar from Carrollwood Day School in Florida and No Name Volleyball Club. How you doing, Doug?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hanging in there.
Appreciate you taking.
Doug. Well, go ahead, Sam.
I was just gonna say, appreciate you taking the time to meet with us today and have a chat.
Oh no, you guys are great. I love seeing your stuff every week, and pretty much the only, I guess I would call it online service that does it the right way. I really enjoy it. Things are pretty tight, which I like.
Whew. Well, we appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we definitely
need some kind words every now and then too.
Well, I say what parents yell at me, Doug, why isn't my kid there? Why isn't my correct? And I just want to say, well, have you seen your kid play? You know, it's, and especially when they're in the lower divisions. You know, what are you going to do? You know, I get told, well, open's not everything. Well, those are the best kids are. You know.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. That might be the bumper for the episode.
Well, it's funny, and I'll be real honest, and I'm honest with everybody. You either love me or hate me because we're honest.
It can be.
I think Tim Tebow. I saw Tim Tebow speak a couple months ago. He said one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. They were talking about parents and sports, and he goes, "Parents cannot handle honesty about their kids. They can't handle it. So, you can't tell, hey, this kid, they need to work on this, and this." And they're like, "No, they don't. They're great."
Yeah.
Okay. But you can go play for somebody else. So, oh well.
That's a difficult challenge. It seems to be.
Yeah, and then every parent wants to compare their kid to another kid, and then it gets tough. You can't compare one kid to the other. Everybody's their own kid. So
we got some great words of wisdom right out of the cut. This is great.
Yeah, usually it takes us a while. It takes us a while usually to get into that deep.
Not my first time around, I guess. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been trained to know the best. I mean, I grew up under Jim Stone and Russ Rose and Mick Haley and Miles Paps. And the one thing they say is you're honest. And unfortunately, people don't like that.
Well, I guess that's kind of a good segue into the first area or, kind of area of questioning we had for you. And that was, if you wouldn't mind, introducing yourself a little bit. We kind of gave, where you are now, but a little bit about yourself, your background through the game and kind of how we've arrived at the Doug Chinchar that we're chatting with now.
When I was a sophomore in high school, I grew up in Clark, New Jersey. I was pretty much bred a baseball player. Got an accident, got hurt. And our high school, Arthur L. Johnson High School, had a great women's volleyball team. So I wanted to keep involved, and so I kept score. And it looked pretty interesting. So and the girls' game was much more technical than the men's game. So I was learning everything, trying to do an approach and how to set and how to pass, and kind of took to it pretty quick. And then I joined a club when I was young. So I can always, go back to what the girls are kind of feeling now in that club atmosphere. Got lucky and made the first junior national elite camp at Colorado Springs in '87. That's how old I am. And that's when all these camps were free. They fly out. You get to train at the Olympic Center. Then I went and played at the Ohio State, which was fun. Was lucky enough to win a gold medal at the '89 Olympic Festival. That was fun. I'm disappointed they got rid of the Olympic Festival. That was a great time. My teammates were Tom Sorensen, Kenyon Seaman, Eric Fuanawana. You go up against Lloyd Ball and all those guys. So it was a great experience. My coach was Miles Paps, who is a legend in the game. But through college, I saw that I wanted to be a coach. I hung around Jim Stone a whole lot, who is one of the all-time greats in women's volleyball at Ohio State. Because of his contacts, it was hanging around with Russ Rose a lot. Mick Haley, and just learning the old school game, which we still use today. And some people are a fan of the old school. 1,000,000 reps. That's what pretty much works. I got lucky enough to, it's funny, my first head coaching job, I was 23, got turned down over 50 times. Back then, women's volleyball with some of the male coaches wasn't a good time. There were a lot of incidents going on around there. So Jim Stone and Miles were at a camp one day, and they got on the phone and started calling people, and I landed at Brescia University in Owensboro, Kentucky. And it was kind of funny because Jim Stone calls up, because this is Jim Stone from Ohio State. Like, who are you? And we really don't care who you are. And they finally gave me the job, which was nice. And then from there, I went to Wichita State under Phil Shoemaker, who's a legend in his own time. So I got really lucky who I was under. Unfortunately, I got an accident. A drunk driver hit me while recruiting, broke my back. Ooh. So I said, I'm going to rehab in Florida. I'm getting out of Wichita. And then the story even gets kind of really funny. I went to USF to watch practice, to stay in the game, see what's going on. And Perry Hankins was the coach there. And Sarah, her maiden name was Runka, who was everything for USF back then, a setter. I actually recruited her at Wichita State because I'm 6 years older. 3 months later, we're engaged, which was great. Well, she was done playing, so she was the assistant coach at that time. Even gets funnier. My mom, who saves everything, when Sarah and I got married, gave me this box, and there's a picture at AAU Nationals. Where were we? In Albuquerque. They have those All-American teams. I'm standing up, looking all, thinking I'm cool, holding my All-American trophy. And there's this little girl in pigtails sitting in front of me when she played 13s. I played 18s with her All-American trophy. Wow. So it's kind of a funny story. So it's kind of meant to be. And then we had 2 baby girls. Naomi, who is now a freshman at West Point. We just got to see her. She's playing well up there. Yeah, unbelievable. So if you ever get a chance, take a tour at West Point.
Oh, I've had a chance to be there multiple times coaching in the Patriot League.
It's an unbelievable experience. Almost does a great job. And then, of course, Lydia, our youngest, who's now a sophomore. So when we had Naomi, the doctor was like, oh, the girl, you okay with that? I'm like, yeah, I coach girls volleyball. And then we had, Lydia, they're like, oh, 2 girls, what are you going to do? I'm like, it's even better. I don't have to worry about, going to football practice or baseball practice. We started No Name. And the reason how we got No Name, we love No Name Key in the Florida Keys. We thought it'd be a great name for recruiting also. There's too many Tampa teams, Orlando teams, this team, that team. You don't know who's on what team, but it's pretty unique. Everybody knows who No Name is. Everywhere we go or camp kids go, everybody knows who No Name is. Coached high school for 25 years. We were at one school for a long time, Bishop McLaughlin Catholic High School. Best thing ever happened to us. We got fired there. They had a lot of problems with their athletic department. They had to get rid of the whole athletic department. Which was the greatest thing ever happened to our family, because Lydia got to play high school in the 8th grade. She got to play with Naomi for 2 years instead of 1. And, these last couple of years at Carrollwood Day School have been an unbelievable run. And that's where we are today. And we're having a fun time. And I have 3 more years left to coach, my wife and I, and then we'll retire and just watch our kids.
You guys are living the volleyball dream. It certainly sounds like that.
It's fun time. We enjoy it. I mean, just imagine my wife, myself, my 2 kids on the bench winning a state championship all together.
I'm not sure if it gets much better than that.
No, it doesn't. And I have to give my wife a lot of credit. Everybody thinks I'm the brains of the whole thing. It's her. She sees the game so fast. And half the time people don't realize what we're doing because, you have to hide Lydia every once in a while. Lydia comes out of every spot you can imagine. And people are like, oh, she got a rotation. And the ref will listen and stop the game. And so I'll be like, no, here's what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And the ref's like, okay. Sometimes I get on the ref, I'm like, you got to be smart enough not to stop the game and say they're doing fine. And you got to be able to see it. Because now they see what we're doing. So.
How has the experience been, not just coaching one, but both of your children, and then all adding in the additional family component of being, a co-collaborator on the coaching side of things with your wife? What's that experience been like for you guys?
Well, we had to make rules. We had to make rules on how everything would work. I knew as they grow up, it wouldn't be easy to have their name on the back of their jersey because parents are. Well, the only reason why she plays is because she's a kid. I'm like, well, I started the club, so yeah, she's going to play, but she's also better than your kid. So we're only allowed to talk about practice or the game for 2 minutes in the car after everything's done. We will chat about various things here and there if things come up, especially Sarah and I, about how the offense works, the defense works, how can we do things. But it's great because Naomi and Lydia have two different personalities. Naomi's more of the, perfect West Point kid. She knows what she's going to be doing 3:43 tomorrow. And Lydia's more a little bit of a freewheeler. So that was good because they were different. Naomi, being the setter that she is, more calculated, more structured, more of the so-called leader, when Lydia was, you show me and get it to me and I'll just do it. But if you make rules and set, okay, here's how we're going to deal with things, I think it's really easy to be the mom and the dad and the coach all at one time with the kids. And I think the parents, they see that. I want to make sure that people know when we're playing, if you don't know who the Chinchars are, that you can't tell that Naomi and Lydia are our kids. Now, they get to hang a little bit of it because after the match, you give them a hug and kiss. Oh, hey, okay, must be it. And they look like Sarah, thank goodness. But, we want to make sure everybody knows, hey, everybody is equal opportunity, get yelled out here.
Well, that sounds like some pretty good advice for all the aspiring future power couples in the game. So take note, take some cues from the vets that have been doing it for a while.
But we learn from the best. I mean, I'll never forget, Jim Stone told me, if you do this wrong, it's not coming back on you, it's coming back on me. So I don't want to hear about it. And I make sure we did it the right way. Now, again, a lot of parents and other people can't handle you being a little tougher on their kid, a little bit more pushing on their kid, telling them to do it again. Why don't we scrimmage more? Well, we can't pass, so why are we going to scrimmage? And it's a treat to play. So when it's time to play, it's a treat. Yeah. And my theory was, and I ask kids every year, and then parents, would you rather play more at a lower level or get the training that you are here and have a chance to play with the big boys one day? Well, they all jump down to the lower levels because they can post things. Hey, my daughter won a medal in this division, and hey, great, on court 165 in the corner. Ooh. Or do you want to be out there and have a chance at that little bit of a dream for maybe a Mary Weiss to stop by and watch you play? So, that's the dream. Why not play for the dream a little bit?
That actually does bring up an interesting topic that I feel that has been circulating through the juniors ranks, certainly. And I think it may be a bit pervasive into the college game as well, certainly at the high school level. But the conversation of, are we trying to make things too game-like too often, where we don't allow the athletes time and space to develop the skills they need to be able to make the game itself, the whole picture, more refined and more cohesive as a unit?
Well, that's the old school style right there, what you just said. That's how old school works.
Yeah.
When you do these reps a bunch and a bunch and a bunch and a bunch, and then give a reason behind it. I was always the type of people, and I know Jim Stone, if he ever hears this, he'll laugh. He hated all the questions. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? So we tell the girls as we're doing all these reps why we're doing it.
Yep.
Okay. And then when it happens in the game, there it is. But too many coaches want to get into these wash drills right off the bat. And you watch those drills. I'll sit there and maybe some kid touches the ball 4 times in a half an hour.
Yep.
Well, what'd that do?
Nothing.
Doesn't do anything.
Nope.
That setter, I mean, how many reps are they actually getting in practice? Yeah, you can simulate things, but in those wash drills, maybe they're getting 20 good opportunities rather than 500 opportunities. And that's what I think the difference. I think the biggest compliment that we get, the college coaches will say, we can tell that's a no-name kid just because of the way their form is and the way their technique is, and they can do it time and time and time again.
Certainly does seem to be an interesting place within the training conversation of how are we getting the most out of the limited time and repetition, windows that we have with these athletes. Because, and I don't know if this is at the levels that I personally was recruiting, or Jim, I'm not sure if this was something that you encountered, but we would have kids who could flow with the game in terms of the ebb and flow, and they knew where to be. But then when it was time for individual skill execution, you're wondering why this, 17 and 18-year-old is struggling with, off-speed shots, shot placement. What do you do when you're off script? And it seemed that, and again, I'm not sure if this is true for everybody at every level. I'm sure it's not, but below that, top 1%, half of 1% of, aliens and unicorn kids that are just great at everything, there seemed to be a precipitous drop off in a lot of areas for their cohesive understanding of how to apply the game to the game.
Well, we get, and it's great that you said that, we get some kids that will come over to our club and okay, you're going to do this. Well, I've never done that. Well, why? Well, I'm a middle. Okay. So you never passed the ball before? Well, no. Well, how do you know where you're going to play as you get older and something happens to another kid? And that's what's killing kids nowadays, because say somebody goes down, well, why can't you play another position? I mean, why can't a middle play outside and right side and pass balls and hit, swing out there and let it rip? They're all athletes, but the way people are training them is you're a middle. That's it. Well, why can't they be something else? So we make sure our middles can pass, our right sides can pass, our kids can set. And with that, it allows your offense and defense to do a whole lot more things. Why can't I have my middle, if she's middle front, why can't I have her run on the outside, stay on the outside because of a matchup, and have my outside run something in the middle because of a matchup there?
Makes sense to me.
I guess it's more fun that way. It's more fun. So,
well, and certainly as the skill level of the opponents that you're facing increases. I mean, I'm sure you watched a bunch of the indoor volleyball during the Olympics, but it seemed like anytime Team USA was facing a situation where their passing unit is stacked over to either side and the middle's kind of pushed over, oppositional servers are looking for the middles. They're looking for those positions that in most people's mind in the game are probably not receiving more of the passing reps in training, specifically to try and remove them from their in-system abilities.
Yeah. So, it's funny. My wife and I were kind of talking about that a little bit. We're like, we couldn't believe, I love carts.
Sorry, there's a train coming by, so I'm going to hit pause real quick. Jim, if you don't mind taking over for a minute, because it's going to be loud for a second here.
Okay, sure. Well, while he's waiting for the train whistle, I guess we can kind of get into what we came to talk about, which is the Florida Gem Tournament, which we're very excited about sponsoring this year. It's going to be a really great event. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the Florida Gem started during COVID, and we got the name from Naomi. She actually had a sewing business. She liked to sew. She was real creative, and would make towels and purses and all sorts of things. And so we called it the Florida Gem. We just didn't want it to name it because back then we were at Bishop McLaughlin Catholic High School. We didn't want to call it that tournament. So the Florida Gem is pretty catchy. And for prizes, we had gifts from Florida Gem, gift cards. It was pretty cool. But we started with 16 teams. That was it. It was during COVID. I mean, it was playing with masks, and it was pretty nuts. And we're lucky that the facility that was being used, the Wiregrass Sports Complex, beautiful place, nobody was in it. So You had 16 courts, great people. So we spread it out, played. The next year we went to 40 teams. Then we're at 64 teams. Now we're at 104. With some great teams. Have some teams from out of state. We're bringing in the best teams in Florida. Our open division in the past was, now it's okay. You know, you have all 16 teams are in the top 100, respectively, in max preps. So it should be some great competition. It's great that you guys are there. And I know when I reached out, you guys jumped right on board. It's great how you're walking around. The kids get excited. The parents are like, oh, you know, they're like, oh, there's prep volleyball. You know, maybe they're going to watch my kid and say something like that, my kid. So it's great. But we want to make sure that high school kids are all having a chance to play in a great high school tournament. And we're going out to Vegas for the Durango, which is, you know, they've been going for like, I don't know, 25, 30 years. You know, we're working on 4. And we'll probably go 4 more, and that's about it. We're going to try to get to 10 and go from there. But, I mean, if people really want it, we'll, of course, keep it going. But it's really exciting for us. I mean, to feed this thing now, we're like, oh, my goodness. And here's how we do the seeding, which is interesting. I want to be different. And I've borrowed things from other people. For one, I don't care what level you're in, you will not play somebody that's on your current schedule. So that was kind of tough.
Yeah.
Then 2, with high school, with busing and traveling and hotels, we had to make sure that we could fit everybody into time slots. So we did that also. And then I just told people, don't worry about if you're seeded 1, 2, 3, 4 in your pool. You have to play everybody anyway. Seeds 1 and 2 are actually the worst. My favorite is 3, you know, because you ref once and you're out early. And I'm playing everybody anyway.
Yep.
But we're pretty much all done with the morning wave on Friday. We'll figure out we're going to figure out the Saturday wave tomorrow. And then it's pretty much set, and then we go from there. But we do it also too, so the courts are arranged where it's almost like a diagonal: open varsity, open varsity, open varsity, open varsity, and then you can put in the other levels of varsity in between, so everybody can kind of see everybody. I don't want all the open in one corner, all the national in another corner. Let people see what, hey, I want to play that. Because I like how club does it with the open levels are right down the mainstreams in the convention.
Yep.
You know where the open levels, because it's crowded.
Yep.
I didn't want everybody on one side of the gym. You know, we played the Tournament of Champions last year. I know you guys were there, you were watching, and you know, we were playing I forgot who it was. And the big matchup was Lydia was going up against that kid from South Florida who was going to Penn State.
That was Vieira High School. Izzy Stark.
Vieira High School. Yep.
The transfer from Colorado.
Right. The crowd was enormous.
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't even get near it. And against a small gym as it was. And, you know, other open courts were next to it, so they were crowded. So we're like, no more of that. And it was, I want people to enjoy watching great players play. So spread everybody out. I tell everybody, if you want to know what's going on, you have to be involved a little bit with PrepVolleyball, because you guys are telling everybody what's going on. There's some other good services out there.
We're trying.
I think you guys are a little bit more detailed. You know, your information's up to date. The other services you'll see, like, say a kid transferred clubs 2 years ago. Well, that old club is still next to their name.
Yeah.
And I know it's not easy. I don't know how you guys do it, but everything's up to date. You have the right classes. Heck, a couple services had Lydia in the recruiting class 2025, and then all the coaches are calling, oh, with Lydia, you know, we got to get on that. Lydia's in 2020. No, it's 27. Well, it says 25 here. I'm like, she's 27. And then other kids they would ask the same questions. What is this and what's that? And so I just shove them over to you guys and say, if everything's there, you'll find it. So, and it's good that you have players highlighted. So if I want to find, and I'll use Lydia as an example because she's my kid, I can click on her name and it'll give me the history of her within your information. So if a college wants to get information on her, they can click on her name and they get all the updates on her, which that's unique. That's good.
Well, we're trying. We appreciate the kind words.
Well, and that's coming from a dad/coach. Because as a coach, it's cool to see what the other kids are doing. Because I'm going to be, when we go out to Durango, all right, we play Mira Costa. Okay, who's on their team? Oh, here they all are. And I can kind of get an idea. But as a dad, too, hey, for recruiting, hey, look at this. I can give that to a coach who can kind of get a little more information on Lydia.
Oh, yeah, we appreciate that. And we've been working really hard the last couple of years to try and become more of, a base of knowledge and a resource for players and coaches and parents rather than just, a website that lists and ranks and things like that. So we appreciate you hearing that.
Well, I think it's key that you're seeing at the high schools. That's a big area where there's always been that lull. All right, it's high school season. Well, I think high school season is a great time of the year. And I think even the college coaches are starting to use it to their advantage where if you walk in, because they do it for football and basketball, for women's volleyball, if a coach walks into your gym, that's huge. I mean, I know when colleges start walking in for our kids, and we have some pretty big time kids. I mean, we have Maddie Cassell at our high school is going to Purdue, and Elena Dibbs going to Ole Miss, and Sarah Dibbs, she's going to VCU, and Lydia's going through the process. I mean, school walks in, I'm here to see whoever. That's big news, and it's a compliment to the kid, and they get excited, and I'm going to lean towards that school. So with you guys doing the coverage of high schools, well, a lot of these kids are getting a little more attention because maybe in club they're not the best player because some of these club teams are just loaded, but maybe on their high school team they're the best player and they get more reps. So you're seeing more of that kid, and you're seeing them differently than you would in club.
Yep. And we've had a chance to leverage the high school season to kind of get an early look at some kids for the club season that we may not have had a chance to see because we just didn't have them on our radar. I can think of from last year, actually, down at the TOC Southeast, I saw Gigi Artiles for the first time, and I was like, where has this kid been on our radar? Like, no one was talking about her to us. No one was promoting her. And so I saw her playing for Westminster, and I was like, well, that kid's going to be a handful in not too short a time. And then you look, Tribes, was that their 16s this year?
Yeah.
I mean, she was everything for that team. So, it's, I would have to agree. And getting out there can be hard to some of these tournaments, but in the vein that this event, Florida Gems, is, we've had a chance to see a couple of tournaments and events that are really trying to promote the game at the high school level with those groups that are coming in, and we're all here for it.
Well, and you're right. Those high school matches are great with those kids. I mean, they're, and again, last year we got to play them, and then they build these matchups. It's Gigi against Lydia, and they're killing each other.
Yep.
And that's what makes it fun because now, in club, Gigi's surrounded too by people, and Lydia's surrounded by people. Now it's sometimes a little more one-on-one, which makes these battles more interesting. And then the surrounding cast, how are they going to step up in high school? Because they sometimes don't get the chance in club to be on that big stage, but now they are. So I love the high school game. I love our crowds. We got to play Westminster in the finals, the state championship. Heck, we brought 2 busloads in. They brought 2 busloads in. Place was rocking, and thankfully we came out on top by a couple points. So
yeah, just touching on that, I just think tournaments like the Florida Gem, like the TOC, especially for high school season, it's hard for us to be everywhere all at once. And it's a little bit different in club because you have those major qualifiers, the national championships. So, events like the Florida Gem, we get to see so many kids in one place that we wouldn't have been able to see in one shot, one weekend. And it's extremely helpful for us, especially when we're trying to kind of celebrate and highlight as many kids as we can. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, too, is Florida, in my opinion, has been flourishing as a high school volleyball community since right around COVID. And I think that a lot of people Like, they need to know what's up with Florida because the talent is incredible right now.
It is. I mean, heck, just in our neighborhood alone, the Tampa area. I mean, you look at schools like Berkeley, Plant, Tampa Prep. I mean, they're animal schools. And then, we're going to the Durango, of course, and they're already telling us we're going to get whooped. Well, all right, we're we'll see what we're all about. I talked to a few people out there, and they're like, yeah, you have 4 Division I kids, they have 6 and 7. But I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it, but you got to have a good team too. It's just not a bunch of individuals out there. They need to be, the puzzle pieces need to work. So I think that it's us. We'll be in the top tier division, and there's a team out of New York. I think they're going to be in the lower division, they said. Yeah. But after that, it's California, Arizona, Hawaii. And I told them, hey, we'd love to be in the craziest pool you can find. And they're worried, we might lose them. I don't care. I try to schedule losses. I don't care if we lose. Some of the greatest matches we've ever been in, we've lost. You get out of that match like, that was amazingly fun. Yeah, we lost, but you know what? It was a match where we did everything right. We played our best. We played at a crazy level. You know what? They were just a little bit better than we were today. Too many times, the parents are like, oh, you lost. And you forget, you're like, did you see that game? How crazy it was? And then you can watch the kids that you're playing against on TV the next year in the Big Ten Network and the SEC Network. And those are the matches I want to play in. I want to go into a match as a coach with the butterflies in my stomach. Okay, here we go. I'm always curious as a dad, too, with my kids. Okay, let's see how good Naomi is. Let's see how good Lydia is. Okay, somebody said you're pretty good. Let's see it. Because those kids over there are going to these Big Ten schools. And I mean, that's why I love Tav. I love watching Tav play. I love playing against Tav and club. They do something. I don't know if they do it on purpose, but I think they do. Joe runs a great club over there. They all have their backs to the net with the colleges they're going to on the back of their warm-up tops. Wholly intimidating there. But that's fun.
Yeah.
Have
you gotten your schedule for Durango yet? Do you guys know who you're playing?
No. Okay. I don't think that'll be up for a while. The Durango, let's see, I'm looking at it right now. That's September 20th and 21st. But see, we went to that Southwest 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Was that what, Arizona State? I think it was that Arizona State. Arizona State. It was fantastic. It was great. Got to see some great teams, great kids. But now we're at a level. Let's go see how good we are. And I'm not worried one bit about if we win or lose. It's getting these kids ready. What people forget, we're getting them ready for a whole different world. I mean, I keep on telling Maddie Cassell, you're going to Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what it's going to be like there. When we do drills, we're preparing them for the next level. I'm not preparing them to win a high school game or a 17, 18 open club game. And that's where I think coaches are losing out. They're trying to win a game, that game. We're trying to get them better. So when they get into college, they have an opportunity to play, because once you get in that doghouse, you're in a doghouse. The portal is brutal. I can change you out in a second. Let's get them ready. So it's just a different way we look at things.
Absolutely. And we have been having, with our recruiting route segment that we've been running for the past couple weeks this month, we've been getting a lot of really interesting feedback from coaches at different levels about some of those things that you mentioned, certainly about the portal. And it is interesting to see some of the visions and the and the processes that are taking place at certain levels for certain objectives. Like you say, some folks have their goals set on what's happening right now, and some have it kind of parsed out a little bit farther down the road.
Well, the portal thing, I blame a lot of it on parents. Look at the portal. 60% of the kids are freshmen. Well, why is it? Well, your kid's giving up way too early. Everybody expects their kid to go out there and start. Well, you're playing with women now. So you're an 18-year-old kid, and you're going to be playing with kids that are, women that are 20, 21, 22. All right, you have to earn it a little bit.
Yeah.
So what do they say? Oh, Susie, yeah, why don't you go transfer? They don't like you. No, the coach likes you. It's just not your time yet. And that has a lot to do with parents. I mean, just look at them in club, how many times these kids jump clubs because they're not starting here or there. So
it certainly makes our clerical work a little bit more extensive.
It does. It does. And that's why, again, we're training them how to prepare themselves to hang in there, to have a chance to play when they get there.
Touching on what Sam said too about the recruiting routes articles that we've been kind of putting out recently too. I feel like, especially at the D1 level, there is a lot of pressure that comes with that opportunity to be recruited at such a high level. I feel like oftentimes it can be parents or kids. They may feel rushed or pressured to commit to something very quickly without doing their due diligence or really trying to find the place that's like the correct fit for them. And I think that kind of feeds into the whole transfer portal issue that there is out there as well. But I think from what we've seen talking to college coaches, like they're more focused on, do they fit the culture? Do they understand the goals that we're trying to achieve with the program? And I think in that sense, like, it's extremely important to make sure that, when you make that decision, like you're making the correct decision, because, and like you said, parents may rush their kids into it because they just want to say their kid plays D1 volleyball at such level.
It's crazy. Well, we haven't committed yet. You're 16 years old and you're not even in junior high school yet, but they have to be committed. Oh my goodness, not committed yet. So it's kind of fun, as a dad going through it, because I go through both sides. We're honest with our kids. Naomi wasn't blessed with the height that Lydia is. But can Naomi play Division I? Absolutely. But we were being very reasonable about where we were going to look. And it's funny, Naomi blossomed more her late junior, senior year. We're like, wow. Everyone's like, wow, look, she blossomed. Well, sometimes it takes a little more time, and she gained that confidence. West Point, yes, was the best decision. Lydia, I get to ask more questions to the coaches. And it's kind of funny. Parents, I'm in that gray area where I'm the coach. And the parents, I'm in that gray area where I can talk about players, the coaches. I mean, what are you going to, and I asked about every player anyway, but what are you going to do for this kid? What are you going to teach them? What do you see? How can they, like you said, how can they fit in? And some of them have no answer. They just want them because they can score in an open tournament. But it's interesting talking to coaches about a Lydia. Well, what do you see? What do you want her to be? What do you want her to do? How are you going to make her better? If she gets sick, what are you going to do? And some of them don't know, and some of them have great answers. And those are the schools that parents should find. Then they won't transfer as fast.
No, yeah, I agree. I think if we slow down this process a little bit, I think it would be so much more beneficial for both the collegiate programs and the kids. And I think we'd see a lot more organic growth and a lot less transferring and, upset parents about it. So
we can't follow football and basketball. That's problem number one. I mean, when I was recruited, we were juniors and we took visits. Now, this summer, we had to go take a few visits for Lydia already. I'm like, what? You just turned 16 years old, and we got to shell out money to go see schools because it's happening so fast. And here's the problem about it: if you don't, and they kind of get you. Say you have your top 5 schools, and you really like those top 5 schools, but you want to wait a little bit. Well, those top 5 go to the next player. See ya.
Yep.
So, we're doing our homework, and, Sarah and I are lucky that we've been around a little bit. We know some of these people. And if I don't know them, I can call somebody up and say, what do you know about this guy or this gal? ESPN Plus helps. We try to watch every game we can see to see the atmosphere, how the coaches coach. how the bench is. Like, I'll watch the bench. I'll see how the bench is handling themselves. What are the coaches doing on the bench? All the little things that I can find. But we're just looking at it a different way. But I'd love to bring it to your junior year, junior summer. They can offer you then.
Reasonable.
It's going to save the
I think
parents a
so.
lot of money. I mean, I can tell you I spent over $5,000 this summer on travel. Easy. Some of these schools you just can't fly in.
No.
I mean, I'll use an example. We went to the University of Georgia. Got to fly to Atlanta, and then you got to drive an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
To Athens, yeah.
Get a hotel in there someplace. So you got to rent a car. You got to do all the things and come on back. Yeah.
Sounds like going to a tournament. Sounds like going.
It's what it is. It's what it is. And we're not going to let her go by herself because we want to see it too.
Yeah.
Don't know. Athens is a beautiful place. But, okay, you're going to all these schools to see them.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of these parents, unfortunately, they get these camp letters. Oh, we want to invite you to camp. So they're going to all these camps. They're wasting all the money doing that, but they don't even want you. So it's hard to kind of filter through everything. So we're trying here at No Name anyway to filter through everything.
Well, we appreciate you being able to share some of these, insider tips and tricks that have been cultivated over a career of being, a servant to the game, to our audience, whoever's listening, and to our readers and stuff like that, because it is the landscape in the junior national scene is changing. It seems like on a weekly basis, and we're getting new legislation from the NCAA for things like NIL. Certainly the transfer portal is a beast that needs to be brought under a little bit of control. But
Lydia just signed an NIL deal. So, it is one of those things, we signed with Hillard Management, Damon Hillard, his brother's running it. Great family, great people. And it was simple. You're playing volleyball anyway. Why not wear what we want you to wear while you're playing? So she's got Oakley and Adidas and these Move insoles. By the way,
are they going to make me jump higher?
No, they'll make your knees feel a whole lot better after these long days.
No, you better not be putting me on, because my knees have been barking for about a decade now, man. I need them. I need them.
I am telling you. So what I did, I think I'm funny as a dad. I took them out and put her old ones back in.
Ooh.
She didn't know it. She gets to practice. You can see her kind of fooling around with her feet and kind of moving around and and Sarah and I are watching this. We actually videoed the whole thing. She takes off her shoes. She's looking around like, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
She goes, what happened? She comes over, what, did you take these out? Like, yeah, I just want to see if there really was a difference. And I had the other ones put them back in. Off too much. She goes, there's a difference.
You shot the commercial for him, man.
Dude, I tell you. But again, I love the Oakley stuff and I love Adidas stuff. But to me, it's a pair of sunglasses, a pair of shoes. They all look cool.
Sure.
Heck, I look cool with my Oakleys on. I look cool in Adidas. But the other thing that makes me feel good. So the NIL is getting crazy. But see, volleyball is following football and basketball, which we shouldn't.
I agree.
We should.
We need our own identity as a community.
We do. And you guys are doing a great job. And the more you can get out there, the better. The more you can help say the honest things to parents about how recruiting works. That, it's okay to lose a match as long as you're playing at the highest level possible. Like when I grew up, I played on a 2-teaming club because of the coach was actually an ex-volleyball player, ex-coach, somebody who's been there for the training rather than this political stuff for these clubs. Well, we're on this team because this. No, you should be on a team because you want the best training. So it's a crazy world out there. So thank goodness they have 3 more years left.
The countdown's begun. Jim, do you have anything else that you want to touch base with Doug about?
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit about what the squad looks like this year for Carrollwood Day, kind of headed into the Florida Gem, because you guys are the reigning champions, correct?
Yeah. It's interesting because teams aren't made by individuals, of course. It's amazing what we've seen since we've lost Naomi. And then you realize why she is at West Point. She was the leader. Those kids, they would listen to her before they listened to me. If Naomi said do this, no questions. They played hard for her. They did anything for her. Heck, her senior year, I think the reason why we won, because they always wanted to play one more match with her. And we just kept on going. So, I mean, we have every gun back. We have a rookie setter, Jansen Warburton, who's learning. Hasn't been able to drive a car this fast yet, but learning. She's going to have to learn at a rapid speed. Naomi could find Lydia anytime. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sarah Dibbs can put the ball away. Elena Dibbs. We have a kid by the name of Lorelei Church, who's the most underrated player in America. She's one of those 6'1", 6'2" middle tweener kids, but the hardest working player in America. We put her up. She's our M1. We put her up against the best middle that the other team has. She's gone up against every open middle in America. Blocks and tremendous timing. So you have that kid. Then you have Maddie Cassell in the back row doing her thing. And then, we have Soraya Bradshaw, who played 17 Open last year, and Olivia Bedina, who played 15 Open last year. And then, I think we do have the X factor. We have Lydia. She can score from anywhere. But, it's hard sometimes when the ball just doesn't get there the way it should when you have a machine running. And all of a sudden, instead of being 2 to 3 feet off the net, that ball's 5 to 6 feet off the net. And then the timing is different. But it'll get there. Some, these crazy people, some of them ranked us 13th in the country. And so I guess if we lose, it's my fault. And if we win, of course, kids are playing great. So we're ready for that. I mean, that was Max Preps. That came out of Max Preps. But we'll be pretty tough. There's nothing we haven't seen. We're not going to be afraid of anybody. The difference is we're going to get everybody's best match.
Yep.
Everybody's best.
No sneaking up on anybody this year.
No. I mean, we did get a transfer in at the last second. This girl, Giselle White. Keep an eye on her. She's a high flyer. She goes by Gigi. That really filled a hole. Gets up. She touches. What was it? It was 9'10". She touches. She's about 5'9", but get it out there. She's going to get up there and let it rip. So it's a nice compliment to a spot that was going to be pretty weak. So
she's in your O2.
She's going to be our O2. Now, see, when you see our lineup, our rotations aren't typical. Like, Lydia plays right, Elena plays left, and they're opposite. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where they're going. But now, also, too, we can move them around. There's times when Elena will go right, and Lydia will go left. Elena can go middle, and Sarah Dibbs will go to the right. So, it's just fun putting it together. Now, what we need Jansen to do, our setter, is to make those moves without us telling her to make the move. Because that's where Naomi was great. She saw the matchup. Lydia, you go this way. Elena, you go that way. You make this, you go that. And heck, there is a play, we call it the Holy Moses, because we parked the Red Sea. When Lydia's back row, it's usually the setters in the front row with 2 hitters. We just send them flying to the antennas. And we run the pipe. And she comes in and crunches it. In high school, they don't block it. Heck, a lot of the club teams don't block the back row. It's a free swing. And the coaches are, it's funny, the coaches yelling at their players, you got to dig that. And I'll yell over because I think I'm funny. I like to see you dig that one. That ball came in with some heat. I was like, God, you have some fun digging that. But we're going to be pretty tough. We'll lose a few. But you're getting ready to win a couple matches at the end of the year. That's all. And we moved down to 2A. But Westminster did too. So Berkeley's happy because we're out of 3A.
Sure they are.
Oh, she called me right off the bat. Hey, did you see the new things? And I'll be honest, I really don't care where we're at. You know, we're going to play wherever we play. They're in 3A, we're in 2A.
So now, a bit of housekeeping for those who aren't, myself included, up to speed on how Florida has their classifications. Are you guys free to move as institutions relative to where you were the year before, or is it based off of your enrollment? Is it based off of your performance finishes? Like, how does that work for you guys?
It's all enrollment in the Florida High School Athletic Association does it.
Gotcha.
Now, I don't get how they do it. I mean, you know, I like how I grew up. We played by county.
Yeah.
There was your parochial, and then there was your public.
Yep.
You got one champion from each, and then you played, and then you went to a state championship.
We're both from New Jersey, so we had that kind of we've seen that process growing up, and so it was interesting because we had I think they're still doing it based on enrollment with the groups that they have up in New Jersey. So it'd be really nice if they just played 3 out of 5 like the rest of the civilized volleyball world, though.
Well, it's funny. My niece plays for East Brunswick.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Don't we know the head coach there?
We certainly do. We played with him in college.
Well, we always make fun of her. We're like, because I think they won the county or the state a couple years ago or something.
Yeah.
So we didn't, and they're like, "Oh, we won, you didn't." I'm like, "We would kill you guys," because we were watching. We're like, it was slow.
Yeah.
You know, we were watching like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
So it's always funny to battle back and forth with my Jersey friends, and
it's a small world, and apparently just a couple guys from Jersey keep getting into the mix. I don't know how. Jim, we got anything else for Doug here? I think
no. I'm just. I think we're just very excited. I can't wait for this event.
You know, we're going to get a really good chance to see your guys' progress and how this team grows over the season. So, thank you for taking the time with us today, and you know, we're super excited to. Have people in the space that care about the game and are trying to see it actively grow, be involved to this degree. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you for Sarah's efforts. Thank you for Naomi and Lydia's efforts and everybody who's involved in No Name and CDS. So, we'll wish you good luck. When do you guys kick the season off?
We played last night.
How'd we do?
We won. We won. It was
excellent.
It was a fun game. It was a good starting game. We played Polk Person, who they're a lot of the game point kids. So it was weird. We won in 4-handedly. If that makes sense.
Sure.
We blew them out, but one game we were screwing around, and then it's funny. You win the first game 25-10. You lose the next one 25-20. You win the next one 25-7, then 25-10. It was over. So
and that's high school volleyball in a nutshell.
That's young girls playing volleyball with high school boys around the gym. Yes. The social pressures that never leave us. No, but I want them to enjoy that though. So, but anyway, I know you guys got Zoom. Jimmy, thank you so much. Sam, thank you so much. Look forward to see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Doug. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Doug.
Take care. Bye-bye.